Hey everybody, welcome back to A Million Little Podcast. And I'm sorry if I sound distracted for a minute. Our Twitter's just blowing up right now. Danny/Chance is really putting us over.
Danny?
What a guy at official Chance H is really putting us over right now on Twitter at A Million Podcast. Follow us on Twitter if you don't.
Chance, not a wiener herself, helping us out big
absolutely
time.
Not. What a guy.
What a guy.
I mentioned there was no Danny in the episode tonight.
Yes.
Which I know Jamie is. I'm Kevin. She's Jamie.
Hi.
Dave Miller. R.I.P. Dave Miller. He is once again. He has died. And
he was the one with the massive transfusion protocol.
Oh my goodness! You tracked the medical term.
I did. Massive seems like that seems like a bad way to put it.
It does. It feels fake. It's probably real.
It seems fake. I guess that's why they say MTP. So they don't come over the loudspeakers saying, hey, hello everyone, we need a massive amount of blood. And that is a medical term.
Yeah, just screaming more blood is be a terrifying thing to hear.
So much blood! Please!
We should ask our doctor brothers if that's real. And we should, if we had thought this beforehand. But Chance Hurstfield, Danny, who's not in the episode, which makes Jamie furious. It always does.
Yeah.
He really
the tweets make it better, but
he was
still
really
stupid.
He was tweeting about the show a lot. I feel like he was promoting the show even more than normal today, and I noticed at the end he wasn't even in it.
Yeah.
He's putting over. I mean, it makes sense.
Sophie was there. We were in the house.
Sophie was there. By the way, Sophie is older.
Stranger danger. Come on.
She is older than Danny, but she needs to be taught lessons, I think, because she's just letting people in to her house, letting shady ladies.
Shady ladies. You know why Danny's probably not in it? Because Danny would have known better.
Because Danny
would have shut that down real fast. Sophie, did you just bring a stranger into our house?
Mm-hmm. He would just give her a look and shake his head, sigh, walk into the other room. She'd know she did wrong. But
you know our family's full of mysteries. What are you doing?
In this episode, Theo was certainly back on his bullshit, and Sophie was on completely new bullshit. It wasn't really. I feel like Drea Di Matteo, who is obviously Barbara Morgan. Drea, what if the dude's Barbara Morgan? How about that twist?
What if his real name is Morgan Barbara?
Oh, goodness. It's a comma mix-up. It's a first-last name mix-up.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that would, But Drea Di Matteo, who plays that lady, she has a nice little gig going on. She's just getting in the first minute and last minute of every episode for the last few.
Sneaking in.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to say earlier, our third guy, Dave, he's not actually dead. That would be if Dave had died and we just went R.I.P. and just didn't even mention it the rest of the episode.
Made a joke about all the blood falling out of his body and then moved on.
Yeah.
He's fine.
He's fine. He's working. He will be dropping in another one of Dave's patented solo recorded countdowns that like we had last time. But next week, for the finale, we will be all three of us live together once again doing it.
Hold on to your wigs and keys. It's happening.
Yeah. But yeah, so this episode was called The Rosary, and as soon as I saw that it was called The Rosary, I wrote "uh-oh" next to it. So, already pretty quite, and there actually wasn't. I'm going to say on a scale of 1 to 5 uh-ohs, there not too many uh-ohs by the end of it.
No, not that many. Also, it's like they could have swerved on us, I guess, but I was pretty sure. I was more worried that Barbara Morgan was going to murder Sophie than I was that Maggie was going to actually die in surgery. Yes. I was pretty sure she was coming out of that fine. They did a good job making it tense.
Yeah.
It felt real. That was good. But there was more tension for me in the beginning when fucking Barbara Morgan's just wandering around the house, and it's like, this is exactly a horror movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is happening?
Absolutely, and because of how
and then she's gone.
Because of how coolly and calmly that she pulled off her little her sneakery.
Yeah, there was no. I mean,
low-key sneakery.
Low-key sneakery.
Yeah. No, but Ashley's not in the episode.
Our speakeasy / shoe store is going to be called.
Low-key sneakery. Man, that in this day and age, it is shocking that there isn't a sneakerheads speakeasy.
Or is there? I wouldn't know about it if there was.
Sure. But, Barbara Morgan has a real plan, which shouldn't be surprising given that she is seemingly somewhat nefarious, or maybe not, but just...
she's full of secrets.
She's full of secrets.
And she's been keeping secrets. She very easily got people to leave her house when they were like, is Barbara Morgan here? And she was like, nope.
Yeah.
Bye.
That's definitely not me. And then everyone was just like, oh, okay,
Fine.
Cool. Take your word for it, stranger.
Also, just a PSA for the kids. Look how easy it is for people to stalk you on Insta and in person.
Right.
I was like, I think about that sometimes too, where it's like, man, if I really wanted to like stalk someone, you just can.
Yeah.
Like if you're in the same city, it's like you can so easily find out where someone lives.
Oh, absolutely. I've had that.
I mean, everyone knows this already. This is not new news, but it's like, oh, look at that.
No, but I'm a comedian who's not famous, but I'm performing places, and so it's not hard to find out what clubs I'm going to be at. But I've definitely had people just say at a bar that I was at after a show, like, oh yeah, I saw on Twitter that you were here. I saw that place, and then nothing.
Which is the point. But also, it's like, oh yeah, if you were a psychopath, that would be big trouble.
Oh, I mean, like the bar after the show I did.
Oh.
Like, yeah, but
not the point.
Yes, right, exactly. But that's that is a good point for the kids out there. The Sophies, which I assume season 2 is just Sophie's been taken at this point, which is easily taken, and
you know who's getting her back. Fucking Danny.
Jamie is just fanfic. Now that Liam Neeson's a problem, he's canceled. Am I right?
Am I right? Twitter?
Yeah. Now we need a new hero. But she'd be very easy to take in at this point. Also, I think Sophie does take after her mom in this way, Delilah, who we'll get into it later. But I feel like Delilah, the way she's hanging out with Andrew Pollock, the character in this, she's a little gullible, little easy.
Yeah, she's the combination of like gullible and like wants to believe the best in people, but also knows she's right. Like she has the whole like restaurant stuff had an air about her. Like, I know what's best. I'm a mom. I'm a grown up.
A little too confident.
And I'm going to believe the stranger no matter what he says. I've taught my children well.
Yeah.
Sophie clearly
My kid's
learned
great.
From her mom.
They let strangers into the house, and then when they say, hey, there's this person who said they saw us at a race once, so of course I'll bring them into my house alone. And then we turn the corner, she's no longer there, and everyone's like, huh, strange, what is for lunch? Like, no, they just forget about it immediately.
Yeah. How did you not call the cops? It's amazing.
That's wild.
And we did find out from Barbara Morgan, we found out. She says, I was pregnant when I lost my husband, too. It was a long time ago. Feel like that might have had a ring of truth to it.
That she was pregnant when she lost her husband. She didn't say that's when her husband died.
Nope.
Yes. I was pregnant when my husband started fucking your mom.
So maybe she wants to talk about it, or... Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to say that last part.
Emma was her fake name there.
Fake name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, of course, Gary's walking in with Delilah, because Gary's always with everyone whenever they need help.
Whenever anything happens.
Gary's the catch. Gary's the man.
That's at the end of this, we're going to find out Gary was Gossip Girl the whole time.
Oh, man, that'd be great. Just cross over to everything. Yeah, Gary was Gossip Girl. Gary was the idea of purgatory on Lost. Gary is whatever was in the suitcase on Mad Men. He's a lot of things. Yeah, so let's go. We already talked about the weirdness at the beginning of the show and the stranger danger. Where do you want to go next after that, Jamie? You want to go chronological or by character?
Let's go character.
Sure.
It's cancer surgery day.
Yeah. Do we have a sound? Do we have a music cue lined up for it? We do not. Okay. It's just, it's at a Jamaican club. It's just, yeah. So it is cancer surgery day for Maggie.
For Maggie.
And I alluded to this briefly. Go ahead. Sum up that for us a little bit before I get into what I was going to say.
Well, we're in the hospital, and Maggie knows about dead Linda from last week.
Yes. But not right away, though.
No, she does. She knows. She said she had texted her that morning.
Okay.
And because she's wheeling, she's like getting wheeled away. She's looking nervous when Gary's
when she's getting
there.
wheeled away, yes.
She's already nervous when Gary's sitting with her. Gary goes off to get ice chips. She looks like, she's more nervous than she's letting on. And then Gary catches up to her because she's being wheeled away, and that's when she admits, I do know about Linda because I tried to text her this morning, and did she say her daughter? Somebody texted her back and was like, she did. So that's how Maggie found out Linda died on the day of her surgery. That's rough. So
that is rough.
Gary basically has the job of real quick before she goes through the doors being like, that's not going to happen to you. It's going to be fine. Bye.
Yeah, I got the rosary. I got in a fight with your mom. Everything's cool. Everyone, yeah.
Well, not even then.
Or not even yet.
I will in the future get the rosary and get in a fight with your mom.
Yeah.
See ya. Yeah, so that was, and by the way, did they ever bone on Plymouth Rock? I guess that might just be an unanswered question.
Oh, maybe that's the real
skipped right from that to its surgery day. That's not cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they did. That might be 2 episodes in a row where Gary does not fuck, which is, man.
He does at least allude to the fact that he fucks to Maggie's mom.
Yeah, if you're gonna talk about how much you bone, to the mom of your girlfriend. Really, just so you know, it's we get after it sometimes.
Yep. The thing about this episode is, Gary goes to grab the rosary that Maggie's mom gave her that she forgot back at the house because he's feeling like they need a little more luck, a little more good juju, and he gets back and some biatch steals his parking space, and it's Jan from The Office.
It is Jan from The Office. That is. Did you know right away
that it was Jan?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It took me a second. I knew her,
and I shouldn't have been surprised. I was surprised when it was Maggie's mom. I was like, she's the doctor. No, she's already in surgery. I was like, what's she gonna be? She's not just gonna be the lady in the car. It's like, of course, Maggie's mom. Yes.
I looked her up real quick on Twitter first, Melora Hardin, and and in her bio it says from Freeform's the bold type, and I was like, that's not it. Nope. I've not seen that.
Incorrect.
And then, she briefly dated Michael Scott. That is the case. But Jan, pretty good guest star. Yeah, that's a fun one.
She was very good. Yeah. So obviously she and Gary are off to a bad start.
And this is I tweeted about this at A Million Podcast, but the very relatable because
you called my mom a Dick Cheney in a parking lot.
I told your mom, just so you know, we get after it. That was what but in the first time I met your parents was at a hospital.
Yep.
While you were being surgeried. You were being massive. What is it?
Massive surgery. Massive transfusion protocol.
Yes.
Not that I know of, but who knows?
We were not dating, though.
No, weirdly enough. That's a detail that sometimes I even forget when we tell this story. Yeah, we were just hanging out over the summer and not very obviously not kissing for a while.
Doing a lot of sitting next to each other, buzzed on a couch, arms against each other, and then being quiet where the kiss would happen, and then just not.
We were the wieners then.
We were both the wiener.
We were both the wiener. It was a tie all summer for wiener of the show, and it was the both of us because we could not make a move. But I had to get my gallbladder taken out because it was full of stones. I apparently have the gallbladder of an 80-year-old woman. I was 20 at the time. Sure. Yeah, not anymore. I don't know where it is. They probably...
It's in the Smithsonian. It's in the Museum of TV and Radio now, I think.
Totes. So that was happening, and Kevin hung out with me the night before the surgery, as you do when you are not someone's boyfriend.
Yeah, when you're not dating, for sure.
Just aggressively not being someone's boyfriend. Yeah. And then, he came to the hospital to hang out, and my parents were there.
They were in the waiting room. And I did
room.
not know what they looked like, but they knew what I looked like because we did a college TV show
yeah,
together.
So they had seen him, and Kevin apparently did a couple laps to wait for my parents to come up to him, but that's not how my parents roll. So he went up to the desk and asked where I was, and that's when my dad got up and said, "Hey."
I said, "Hi, has Jamie Hughes been checked in?" And then her dad said, "Hey, Kevin, I'm Jim Hughes. That's her dad. I've doxed your dad now."
No.
Yeah. All the million little potinaires, they've started going by millionaire. As you know, that's a I can't. I've seen my bank account. I can't, in good conscience.
You know what? We should workshop. The final episode, good timing. We should
which is next week.
Exactly. We should come up with a better name for the followers.
We'll see what we can do.
All right.
But yeah, so I met your parents in a very similar way, and then we made out a month later. But I also had a car mishap.
Not my dad.
Yeah, I made out with her dad 1 month later, and I made out with her 1 month and 1 day later, which was real weird for several reasons. But I had a car mishap. I woke up late. I meant to get to the hospital earlier, and then I left my car. I guess I left the headlights on or something. This was 2002, so it was not an auto headlight on-off situation. I ran in, and then when I got back out to my car, it was dead. But I didn't want my first impression on this girl who I wasn't dating's parents to be that I was frazzled in my car. I'm completely unable to be an adult here. So
I'll never be able to provide for your daughter who I'm not dating.
Yeah. So I just sat in the hospital parking lot, called a friend who came and gave me a jump. But there we go. That's my Gary. I'm the Gary or the Maggie, which that checks out.
Yeah, they totally ripped that storyline off from us.
I know, they dove deep into our podcast history.
We will expect a check and an apology in the mail. Danny will take care of it.
Yes, Danny always does. But yeah, we've got that. They stole our lives, and then the Jan from The Office is involved here.
Yep, she's there.
And I should say, Patricia, her character name was taken from Allison Miller, who plays Maggie. Her grandmother's name was Patricia. She passed away of ovarian cancer, and there was a little shout out to her.
Oh,
so isn't that nice? Look at that. I'm on the research today.
Look at you, research team. That is lovely. Mm-hmm. It's also, she doesn't write the show. It's nice that she got to get that input in.
I feel like the show's pretty good about giving little shout outs like that with character names and stuff. I don't have another specific. Yeah. I haven't researched anything else, but I feel like that is the case.
Yeah, geeks like us are going to be super jazzed about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then, eventually after the massive blood incident.
Yeah.
Maggie's mom,
which is a pop punk band from 2004. Yeah.
They play a lot of gigs at the sneakery, the local sneakery. She goes to the chapel, the hospital chapel, and that's when Gary goes in and he blows the rosary secret and tells her that Maggie didn't have it and gives it to her, and they have a nice little chat about religion. And then they talk about the rosary, and then there's a close-up on Gary's lucky cancer hat. Mm-hmm. The hat is a rosary. Religion is not just a book. It's a feeling. It's a spiritual
there you
thing.
go. Look at this. Unitarian getting on it.
Woo, woo.
Do you have any good luck items that you use in your life at any point?
Yes.
Are you mad about, or is it secret?
It's not secret. It's just mushy. I have a little sterling silver heart necklace that Kevin gave me.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That I wear when I travel, particularly by air, because I'm freaked out by flying. So that's like my replacement rosary when the plane is taking off, is I'm basically gripping that and just being like, don't kill me, don't kill me, don't kill me, don't kill me.
Yeah.
And then once the plane levels out, I'm like, all right. Okay. What's on the TV?
But that's a good one. Mm-hmm. It's weird that I don't have more. I used to have more traditions before the show we did in college. I had a very specific set of things I would do before each show.
You had a routine.
I had a routine.
I guess a breadstick was your item if you were going to break it down.
I would go to Fazoli's and carbo load in a car by myself, parked next to a dumpster before walking in a suit and hosting the fucking show. But, which I told, so that, and then when I'm a huge Chicago Cubs fan, and when I go to a very important game, I went to the World Series, and I wear the shirt of a Cub an older cub who was not able to be there. So we're like a Ron Santo shirt for that.
Yes.
So that is a thing. I think everyone's got stuff like that. So yeah, that was a nice little touch where them showing the rosary and the Bruins thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a nice up and down scene. Mom gets very emotional, and Gary's there for her, and it's like, all right, this is gonna work out. And then, the mom says that she was a lapsed Catholic. Gary says that he knows about Maggie's brother dying. She says she didn't find her way back to God until Maggie got sick. No atheist in a foxhole. There's probably one, but just chilling.
Right.
And then it turns out Maggie's fine. She wakes up and her mom and Gary are there, and I think she does do a very good face that sums up why is my mom and Gary here together.
Sure. It's a stressful thing when any people from different parts of, at least stressful or weird at least, when people from different segments of your life mix and you have to be there for it.
It's an immediate like, oh dear God, what's been happening since I was out? There's so many options. What could have happened? And then Gary asked Maggie to move in with him.
Nice little moment. Nice little moment at the end. She already wrote, I'm in on a Post-it. Do you know the mechanics of the Post-it move? She wrote that before she had surgery, it seems. Was it in response to a different question?
I think she was writing it just then.
Tweet at us at @1,000,000podcast, and also I should say Instagram at @1,000,000little podcast.
I was wondering, I was wondering that too, but I think he took the number. I don't know. She wrote down the number for him to like call her parents before. I feel like she did actually do that, and she just wrote "I'm in" right there, just to be like, it's the easiest way to sum up her feelings in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think.
Cool. Yeah, I'll take it.
I could go either way.
That's now canon for me. That's enough. And we're the only significant, I'll say significant, A Million Little Things podcast. So when we say that's canon, it is.
Only Danny can tell us otherwise.
Only not even DJ Nash. No, only Danny. No. Rode, we will. That's fine too.
Okay. Yeah, he was there.
And Grace Park. Catherine has risen in the. I'll accept whatever Grace Park wants to say too.
All right.
Yeah.
And
that's it.
And that's that. And I guess Rome is easy to tie in here. Rome's at the hospital, and his whole arc is he gets up in the morning and he's working on his script, and then Regina tries to read his script. And I was like, do not do that. He's like, it's in the printer. She's like, look what I found. And she starts to look at it. And I had like a visceral reaction. I'm like, no. Put it down.
Jamie is very, and I think most writers I know are hesitant like that.
Yeah. And then later Gary grabs the script too when Rome has it at the hospital. And is like, stop it, everyone. Not cool.
Yeah, and that's, once again, he's correct. Yeah, that is not cool. Also, I did think it was a little weird that Rome just left the script lying out and around. That's not a real writer move.
Yeah, and then at some point he's just like, where did my script go? Like, Rome, God damn it, come on.
Yeah.
There's no way you just walked away. Because there was no, like, incidents. There was no part of the day where Rome had to suddenly run away where he would have, like, just left his script around. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It could happen. Who friggin' knows?
It's a little weird. And I will say also the rando just picking it up and reading it and very casually. What happens to that struck me as though it was from a old movie. Like an old. The first thing I thought, I didn't say out loud, but I thought out loud when that was happening was boo. I booed it in my head.
Yeah, I did too. It was out of place.
It felt from something else.
PJ is the kid's name, by the way, also, which is a fake name.
It's like saying Jenkins in a improv scene. Everyone's like, Jenkins, get me those TPS reports. Is just like corny shit in an improv scene that no one. I don't actually believe anyone's named Jenkins.
No, that's exactly right. Or it's like when fucking Poochie on The Simpsons goes back to his home planet. Write him off the show. It seems like this guy just skateboarded in and then disappeared from the face of the earth as soon as he read Rome's script. It was very like a Saturday morning show. Like, what was that one? California Dreams. I think it was, that came on after, like, Saved by the Bell, where they would have very special episodes. It seems like a character from a very special episode who would show up to serve a purpose and then never be seen again. And it was, like, cheesy, but you get the point, and it's fine. And I think that's what PJ was. It just kind of, like, reeked of, like, wow, we just need a person to tell Rome that his script is good and that writing a thing about suicide makes people that have thought about suicide feel less alone. So you should keep reading it. Also, is the script actually A Million Little Things? The movie.
Is it? It would be great if PJ was like, actually, I've got this good news. You've been picked up for a season 2.
Wait a minute, PJ?
DJ? PJ Nash. PJ Nash.
And that kid grew up to be PJ Nash, the creator, sort of A Million Things. So there you go. I guess we solved it.
Now we got to wait for the lawsuit for whoever is the real life Rome to sue DJ Nash for taking the idea.
So weird. And Rome, we see he spots a suicide hotline poster. He grabs the phone number from it, calls it immediately to volunteer because he can help people because he's been through it. So he knows what to say, which is nice.
That is nice. And volunteering for something like that, you are making an actual difference. I'm not saying shows don't make a difference in people's lives, because they do. And especially if you're someone like Jamie and I both were, who, not raised by television, but television had a significant part of raising both of us. And so, those things can matter. But it's also a thing where talking to people, whatever your activism is, whether it's, suicide prevention or even, anything in the political world or whatever, I think it's easy for performers, and I say this as a comedian, to think that your shit's doing more work than it really is, when I think the biggest work is done on a person-to-person level in terms of actually, making a difference. And so it's nice that Rome did that volunteer thing. And in the comedy world, it's like people talked about how, the Daily Show taking down the Bush regime and stuff. It's like, comedy doesn't really do that.
Yeah, did it?
No, they got 2 terms. They did the whole thing. So it's like the Daily Show was very funny. It was very funny, but it didn't, I think...
TV makes people happy. It's where they go at the end of the day to smile and have a friend who is legitimately funny, who talks to them, because most people don't have one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are all good things.
It's what you need at the end of the day. And that's, So it does make a difference. However, that really makes a difference to actually talk to someone in real time who's got a real problem.
Yeah. So I thought it was nice. We got Rome's doing both at the end.
It was a nice little, and that was a nice, real little twist there. I was like, all right, I'll forgive PJ Nash for that. That's nice. And then he gives Gina at the end a copy of his script, which is now called Invisible, because that's how PJ felt and feels now that he is turned back into a ghost, because he does not exist.
I was just going to say, they should have been like, did you see that kid PJ? PJ's been dead for 30 years. Classic.
Yes. 100%. That's, Invisible also means PJ because he's not real. But that was nice.
Yeah.
And
so that's Rome. Well, also that's basically Rome's main storyline. Also, Rome presented the review to Gina, the restaurant review to Gina. That was the other main thing. And
to distrust her from reading his fucking screenplay, he hands her the restaurant review.
And I wrote down that you have to. So if you had, let's say, Jamie wrote a movie and a review came out, I would read the review before I handed it to Jamie, so I would be prepared for whatever elements happen. I thought Rome handing the review to reading it together in the moment, I thought was a clumsy move. Not a completely believable from a character standpoint. Have no problem with it in the story, but he just as a human,
right? Because he read the first couple lines, so he saw that it was positive.
Right.
And was like, ooh, let's read this together because I can already tell it's good.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And then,
I would read it fully all the way through to prepare myself for any angle
and
that
if
could.
it was bad, you would go burn all the copies in existence.
Yeah, and I'd be like, it's weird. Everyone loves it, but there's no record of it. Yeah.
Also, I killed a guy who wrote it, which is
Yeah.
we have to move.
We have different names now, but I mean, a really successful thing you did.
So it's fixed. Anyway, pack your shit now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is. First of all, in the restaurant review, it says, I, for one, am glad someday finally came. And the fact that someday is a proper noun in this does make it the final line of a James Bond movie.
Yeah, good call.
It's almost literally whichever one it was with Christmas Jones.
I thought Christmas only comes once a year.
Mm-hmm. She came twice, guys. That's that joke.
And by the way, even in the movie, she didn't. We were listening to everything. That's a technicality, but yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
I'll believe Denise Richards is a nuclear scientist or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, she was, I think, like a literal rocket scientist.
Rocket scientist, yes.
Yeah.
That, fine.
That specific part...
Twice, though.
That specific part also supports my theory that James Bond is bad at sex. Because he's someone who just thinks he's nailing it all the time. And they literally, in that scene, they just started making out, and he's like, "I thought Christmas only comes once a year." It's like, what has happened?
Maybe he did it bad the first time, and she faked it, and she's like, "Let's go again."
Right. I'm James Bond, the best at sex ever. 2 orgasms in a 365-day span. I'm a hero.
I can't believe it. But yeah, so that was, she got a porn review, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, she got a porn review.
But then at the end, it turns out that she only gets a shout out as being the executive chef, but Andrew Pollack gets all the credit because he is her new backer.
Yeah.
So it is an Andrew Pollack restaurant, and she doesn't feel like she's getting the attention that she should, which is true. Also, Andrew Pollack needs to get his balsamic ass out the kitchen. She's got plates going out, and this dude's like, put a drizzle on it. And she's like, no. What the fuck are you doing? He's like, oh, you're right. Maybe I should go. It's like, are you even a chef? Maybe.
Have you've just eaten food once? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he owns restaurants. It's like, I don't think he cooks. I don't think that's his thing.
No, but that is how rich people just feel about everything.
Ugh. Yeah, that was, I mean, they did a good job. I felt very viscerally icky about that when he said that. Like, ugh.
And even in the review process, that's the first time I thought anyone involved with the show this is the first accurate restaurant thing. I feel like because that is what happens in restaurant reviews is that it's always Danny Meyer behind this. He's not cooking the shit, like he
right. He didn't come up with the concept. He didn't cook the food. He just owns it, which is great. Right. Maybe he has good taste, but also it's like he didn't do any of the stuff.
And even if he may have been the brains and the talent behind it at one point, and then he was successful, and then he spins off into all these other things.
Exactly.
So this is a guy, just it's one of his many restaurants, and they credit him, and then they do. It is weird. I mean, it is weird that the review credits him for the saffron risotto, and then talks about the chef. It's like, what do you think a chef does if it's not the food thing?
That was the weirdest part. Was like his risotto. It's like, well, he's not. Yeah. He doesn't have anything to do with that part. That should have been like executive chef is this lady, and BT Dubs, her risotto is real good. Yeah. Like they just didn't write that well.
And then so Gina is mad, and rightfully so, about the review.
Angry chopping some carrots.
About this stuff. Angry chopping the carrots after Delilah, who, as I said, like I wrote down, maybe have Gina's back a bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
Delilah, she falls for dumb guys. She's a real hoes before bros kind of girl. She's a real dicks before chicks situation. She is, and dicks before chicks. She is she's just like, this guy's kind of being nice to her, and she's just like, whatever he wants, I guess. I mean, we're fine with it, right, Gina? How about have Gina's back first?
It is kind of like a, what's if you have a sugar daddy, what are you?
If you're, let's see, let's do this from a logical way. So you have a sugar daddy.
The daddy that gives you sugar. So you are a
diabetes?
Sugar bowl baby.
Yeah, you're a sugar bunny? Yeah, I don't know.
Anywho.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a sugar baby.
Sugar baby.
You're a sugar baby.
Okay.
I don't know. We're clearly not in the kink world. Yeah.
I know. There's probably definitely.
I haven't listened to Dan Savage in a few weeks. So it's like I gotta catch up.
You're so lame.
Dan, I have a podcast about a million little things. What is a sugar daddy lady? Yeah.
Help me. We need this for our podcast. We'll edit it in.
Yeah.
And pretend we knew. Anyway, I think it's a real sugar baby move because she's just like, no, but he's giving us money, so we should be nice to him.
Right.
We should do whatever he likes.
And there is an element of that is true. Once you take money, you have to, they do, the money is control.
And that's the whole reason she didn't want it from the creepy uncle or from, whoever.
Lesser of two evils situation currently.
Totes. Yeah, she's not entirely wrong, but there is a point where you got to be like, we do know how to do this good, so we shouldn't let him run over us.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's bad for business.
Yeah, and Delilah wasn't even really questioning it. Like as you say, I mean, it's exactly what you said. She was just being like, well, he knows, so we're doing. I had an idea that we shouldn't have more tables, and then he said we should, and then I just said yes immediately. Because this guy said it, and he's a pretty good guy. I know that because he's already offered to take my dead husband's shit and put it in a box. Whoa, what? Get you a man who takes your dead husband's shit and puts it in a box.
And again, there's a version of this where he might be a nice and fine dude, but just all the facts of him getting them their liquor license and immediately being in on the investor stuff, and it's a pregnant lady and her husband's dead recently and there's a bunch of weird shit and he's like, I am in. Yeah. Let's do this. It's like, you got some shit going on yourself.
It's a lot of red flags on that guy. Yeah. For sure.
Yep. Holding out. But at least at the end, Delilah scouts out a nice lesbian couple who is enjoying the risotto so much because they used to go to Gina's old restaurant and they missed it so much. And she gets Gina to come out and talk to them, so she feels good. And they kind of make up. And then she gives them free drinks for liking her risotto. And I was like, does that work? Should we be going to restaurants and being like, may I talk to the chef and tell them how good this is? Also, just in case you were wondering, I was having an old-fashioned.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Sandwich Guy. Your sandwich was fantastic. Can I have 2 whiskeys, please?
I'm going to pull this at a Subway.
Yeah, exactly.
May I speak with the chef? You have been the whole time. They made it in front of you.
Yes. Hello. Interior. Jamie and Kevin sit at the Othello Deli. Hello, is Mr. Othello here? This salami's fantastic. Anyway, could I have a Dom Perignon?
I'm going to go ahead and take a couple of 6-packs out of the fridge. You're welcome and thank you.
I'll take 1 extra Lucy. So a Lucy, by that I mean, this is a thing that I don't know how many places they do this, but in New York I found it very weird that people would just walk into a deli and then take a bottle out of a 6-pack and buy the bottle on its own. That's a weird thing.
I've never been confident enough to do that.
I have, but I was already so drunk. I haven't done it in a long time. I also don't really drink beer, but yeah.
I know. I've just never been. I really should do that more. Where it's like in New York, it's like if it is wrong, all that happens is they'll be like, "Hey, you can't do that." You'll be like, "Hey, what?" And then they'll either be like, "Fine," or they'll be like, "Put it back." You'll be like, okay.
Delis are great. New York delis are a very good economics 101 lesson where it's just like everything's got a price. Economics 101 / $1 Million Man, where it's everything. Just make me an offer. It's fine. There's no rules for any of this. It's like it's like when we'd be in the Bahamas on spring break and they'd be like, buy this t-shirt, $20. And you'd say, I have $3. And they're like, fine, nothing. It's all fake. We're just pricing it to move.
Yeah. I don't know. I got to get rid of these t-shirts.
Yeah.
Take it. Fine. We'll give you $2 and the t-shirt.
So then I guess
speaking of matching t-shirts, we're going to the aquarium and it's fantastic.
Yeah. How'd you feel about that?
It was good. It was very... I mean...
I kind of want to go to that aquarium.
It was a good aquarium.
Yeah.
That guy was a real dork leading the tour, but he seemed cool, though. Mm-hmm. He was real into fishies, and I liked it.
I do. I like it when someone who's leading a tour for kids like that isn't mailing it in.
No, he was totally into it, and Theo basically ruins the day. I felt for him. I used to get a lot of nosebleeds when I was in grade school.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen you get a nosebleed once in 17 years.
Well, I've matured since
Yeah, I guess.
then, which made me, I mean, when you get a nosebleed
Were you the
in
Theo?
school,
Are you back on your bullshit?
here's the thing. I would not have forgotten my lunch.
Okay. Jamie did just post a photo of herself as a kid on Instagram. Follow her at Jamie with 2 eyes. It's impossible to spell, but she's at
JAIMIEWITH, the number 2.
EYES. So, it's that easy. Yeah.
I was going to just blow through it, and I couldn't because it was too stupid.
No, it's okay. But you posted a photo of you at a science fair, and you referred to yourself as Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
So that's what you mean when you say you wouldn't have forgotten lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, go ahead.
I probably would have found Theo's and been like, here we go.
Now Theo forgot his lunch.
Now it's a good day at the aquarium. Also, I probably wouldn't have told anyone I had a nosebleed if I didn't have to. If I had any kind of, paper towel or anything nearby, I would have hid that shit and, not made a scene.
Right.
Because I do not like being noticed or looked at.
No, I know.
But people do... I don't know if it's gotten better since that, but she puts ice on his back and says that
on the back of his neck,
on the back of his neck, and says it'll help stop the bleeding, and that cannot possibly be true. They will do people.
That's what they do in Japanese wrestling after a tough match.
Really?
Ice packs on the back of the neck. It's a
Maybe
work.
That's for real. They just got to look like they're doing something. I mean, people mostly when I was in school, they would have you tilt your head back, but that is only so that you don't bleed on the carpet. All that does is make blood run back into your throat, which is disgusting.
Yeah.
Also, I had the weirdest shit happen when you get a nosebleed. People don't know how to handle it. This must happen all the time, and everyone just loses their shit when someone gets a nosebleed. Here's what you do. You wad up some kind of paper, you stick it in your nose, like a little nose tampon, and then that's it. And eventually it will clot. If that one soaks up, you change it and put another one in. That's all. That's it.
Well, I mean, that's good. That's good information.
That is good information.
Yeah.
I used to babysit 2 real rough kids.
Jabroni ponies?
Jabroni ponies.
Yeah.
Faux show.
Yeah.
I did literally wrestle them because it was the only way to get them to settle down.
Yeah.
And one of the kids got a nosebleed once, and I expertly handled it, and he was like, that was when I finally earned his respect. He was just like, oh man, that really worked. I was like, yeah. So, freaking eat your lunch and stop chasing me with a staple gun, goddammit.
Jesus Christ, yeah. So Theo's back he's back on his bullshit for sure.
For sure. So many Theo quotes in this one. Jeez Louise.
I mean, yeah, so
Catherine's with him on a school trip to the aquarium, and Theo basically refuses to have fun. He keeps fucking it up.
Yeah. Nosebleed, and then he says weird stuff I did not bother to write down, but
she has the ice on his back. She goes to Eddie's song is playing on the radio, and she specifically FaceTimes him to show it to him, and it's like, dang, Katherine is in this moment back in love with Eddie, and meanwhile Theo shows up and says my ice bag broke. It's like, damn it, Theo.
Theo ruins a lot of stuff. I guess I'm
really
glad he ruined one of the things, but
Eddie's got to come by. He leaves. He's at the hospital too, and he leaves because he's got to sign the divorce papers.
Yeah, so he comes in, and before
Eddie gets there, they get home.
That Theo says, just so you know, you did a bad job today. He says
Katherine.
that to his mom, to Katherine. What a piece of shit.
Damn.
That is I would not, as an oldest brother, I never said anything like that to my mom after, I would not let one of my brothers get away with saying shit like that. And then you didn't cheer me up. I mean, you should not hit your kids. You should not. Hitting your kids isn't cool. But some other kid should have come in here and slapped Theo in the face for that one.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
You didn't cheer me up. Fucking. I mean, I know you're a kid, but sack up.
Yeah.
I
tried. Well, you didn't. And I mean, this is probably realistic, kid stuff. Kids get in a bad mood and they don't know how to deal with it.
Certainly realistic kid stuff.
But, yeah. And Katherine, as always, is a friggin' badass mom. She is calm. She tells him that's not cool. She's like, no, He's like, you did a bad job today. And she says, I did not do a bad job today. You did a bad job today. You wouldn't have fun, and it's not my fault. He's like, you didn't cheer me up. And it should have been Dad there. And then she does say, that is not okay. You can't say that.
Yeah,
you hurt my feelings. It's like, amazing.
It's a perfect parenting situation. And she was perfect parenting before, too. And then, continued there, just saying, that's not okay, you can't do that. And then Theo suddenly, I guess, tries to turn babyface. He tries to, he feels guilt all of a sudden. And he says, give me a consequence. When my first thought was like, Jesus, this is a 50 Shades ass thing to say.
Precisely what I wrote down. It's like, is it gross that I was like, little 50 Shades?
No!
But
That is a 50. And Jamie and I did go to see 50 Shades. Did we go on Valentine's this year to see the third one?
Last year, yeah.
They are hilarious movies if you haven't seen them. It was, it was very funny. I mean, they hold up. I don't remember one thing that happened in them, but...
The main thing I remember is just, I mean, it's like, as you have said, it's like wealth porn.
It's not even sex stuff.
No, the whole first, like, montage is them just doing rich people stuff, like being on a jet and being on, like, a beach. But then in the middle of all this stuff, like private jets, private beaches, diamonds, booze, he, like, gives her this, like, Pandora charm bracelet, which, nothing against those, but, like, fucking Christian Grey's not giving his girlfriend a Pandora bracelet. And it's like, oh my God, they sold ad space in this, like, sexy wealth montage.
In an actual movie.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh, yeah.
That was great. That set the tone for the whole movie, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, but give me a consequence.
Give me a consequence.
Oh my God,
and then she probably said that exact phrase.
Yeah.
Right afterwards.
Oh yeah, So that, but that's funny that we both thought that from that line specifically. So Theo, but what it is Theo he is feeling guilt there, and Katherine lands a line that I wrote down. Your son just learned remorse, which is funny, but it also that sounds like a Liam Neeson threat too. To be another, your son just learned remorse. What happened? Jesus.
When head of the mob in like fucking Slovakia walks into a room and it's just like plastered with blood and like bone particles. It's like, what the fuck happened here? And Liam Neeson says, your son just learned remorse.
Yeah. I heard that line and thought, man, that is brutal. Yeah.
It was.
And she she didn't say it in a brutal way or anything, but just the words on their own are, that sounds like a threat.
And then Eddie says, I guess we both learned remorse this year. And I was like, oh, there it is. That was a pretty wiener thing to say.
Yeah.
You learned it this year?
I also learned to not, I learned that you hate it when I bone other people consistently for a long time.
It's a thing I didn't know before, but now I do.
Now I feel bad.
Me and Theo are right on track together. Yeah. Figure out, maybe I should have gone to the aquarium today.
Can't wait till Theo gets divorced. Who's not going to get divorced? Danny. He's going to get married once and do it right.
He's going to do it right the first time.
Although, as you know, I'm a big fan of divorce, so I don't even mean to shit on divorce.
No, Danny will get divorced if it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like he won't have to, but if he does, that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. The best people I know are divorced. Maybe I'm very pro-divorce. I think we're the exception. We're like the only time I don't like divorce.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was in my vows. Yeah.
Yep.
This is
Stop
the only
reading
marriage.
your Valentine's Day card to me.
This is the only marriage I don't want to end in divorce. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically, it seems like they're about to avoid signing the divorce papers by making out again.
Katherine apologizes to him, which, I'm sure she did things wrong also.
Yeah, that tracks, I think.
It tracks. She's feeling... Basically, they've been getting along because they finally made the decision and it's not in limbo anymore. So they can actually see each other as people now. And she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't make you feel good about yourself. Like, she did that day because she was proud that his song was on the radio. And she's like, I probably haven't done that for a long time. I'm sorry. And then... And
it wasn't even a song he was singing.
Right, the one he wrote and sold.
That is cool. That's being a real fan,
It is. It's a very good... Yes, fan, friend, significant other thing to do. Everybody's sorry. In this episode, everybody's sorry.
We're all sons who learned remorse.
Sons of remorse. Right after Sons of Anarchy, if that is still on the air.
Yeah.
And then, but then they have a moment, and they almost kiss.
They almost kiss, and then the kiss is thrown off because Theo
done got a night terror and runs. He runs directly into the room and looks at them and says that he's the slow fish and he's gonna be shark bait, and he's like screams at his parents. They're like, night terror. He was like, man.
It is weird that it's Theo's version of night terrors where they're very specific. They're specific, and he aims them in the most inconvenient way, the most inconvenient direction. Also, his night terrors, he's saying things that he would say anyway. There's no, which, I mean, that's the thing. People think, because of how pop culture has portrayed Tourette's, people think Tourette's is just shouting fuck when it's like, it's not. It's not at all. It's tics. That's all it is. And I say this as someone who has performed at Tourette's benefits twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows his shit. Mm-hmm. That's you doing good. That's your suicide hotline.
Oh, yeah. I've done several of these. I did a show for the National School of the Blind. I did a show for brain cancer benefit, children's brain cancer benefit at Caroline's recently. Me and Jim Gaffigan and a couple other people.
Hell yeah.
I'm doing stuff.
That's right. Look, if we can't get ads, could we at least get a Nobel Prize up in here?
Nobel Peace me. Yeah.
And
I do.
They do sign the papers. They do sign the divorce papers.
Yeah.
And Katherine is officially unwienered.
Katherine's unwienered. She's legally she's lost her wiener. Which is Eddie.
And then they have a pretty awkward post-divorce hug, and then
awkward but totally true.
Yes,
very believable.
Very true.
Yeah,
hug like ooh, weird. Mm-hmm. Weird to hug someone like that you used to bone on a table.
Did you? I mean, this is Jamie and I have been together so long. We have very limited dating histories. But when you broke up with your other boyfriend,
the other one,
was that a hug breakup?
No, we were in a car, so I don't think
You just kind of left?
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Yeah.
In person, though.
Cool. That's good.
Very brave of me.
Breaking news, Danny, Chance Hurstfield, at official Chance H. Breaking news, he said, can I tell you guys a secret? About at James Roday. He is literally one of the best actors ever. We do a lot of takes, and he somehow manages to change his delivery, capital every time. I'm learning so much from him. He doesn't have time to tweet because he works so hard. And then,
oh my God.
What a guy. He's just putting people over.
Putting James Roday over as if he even needed to be put over.
But yeah, he's always putting people over.
Oh,
he's what
so
a guy.
good.
It's such a
I feel like we've said it before, but like best coworker of all time.
He really is. He's what a teammate. That's funny.
He's good. It's like if he's calling. It's unfortunate that he's such a great actor because it's probably he should be like the head of HR in like an office somewhere that like remembers everyone's birthday and like
right.
Everyone gets a personal note like that's just like you've been doing such a good job and here's a very specific example of the things that you bring to our company and we love you so much we couldn't do it without you. Be like, oh my God,
yeah,
Chance just left this for me for no reason. Be like, this is the best place to work in the whole world.
We've got, all right, a couple other things. That's most of the big storylines we got wrapped up. So the other notes I had are all a couple things that are Gary related. When he was talking to the mom, Maggie's mom, Patricia, aka Jan, when she dated Michael Scott, the other friends should have interrupted. They just let him run. They let him make a mess of himself with her a little bit. They should have dove in on that. They could have distracted. They could have been. They could have diverted that.
Right. I guess maybe they were hoping that he would work it out, which he eventually did. It's good that she got to know the real him. But
sure.
Yeah, if I was the friend, I feel like I would have been all up in there. Just like, do you guys want a soda or snacks?
I've done that. This is not nearly the same thing, but the guy who my co-host of the other TV podcast I do at Sex and the City. It's
Very good.
We're watching Sex and the City from the beginning. My friend John Daly, he dated a girl from my high school, and her parents liked me and knew me. We all went out to dinner together, and John was feeling awkward. I'm pretty good with parents, and at some point it got quiet for a second, and John just accidentally burped really loud, and then I changed the subject. I just started talking about something else real fast. That's the kind of intercept you need. Anyway.
That's right. You are a true friend.
I am a true friend. At Sex and the City, it's on Instagram.
It's a very good podcast.
Thank you very much.
I'm biased, but it is good. I'm a fan.
And Jamie was on a couple episodes, two so far. And also, he said it was weirdly delivered, or not by the actor, but just it's a strange way to say it, where he called her Dick Cheney, but it's very specific. I called her Dick Cheney without the Cheney. But I respect calling a lady a dick. That's a quality.
Yeah.
And we have a friend who did that to one of our other best friends. Our best man called our maid of honor a dick. How about that?
Yeah, not at the wedding, way earlier than that.
Called her he's your dickhead.
And everybody loved it.
Yeah, it's a funny thing to call a lady.
Including our dickhead maid of honor.
Yeah, exactly. She is a dickhead.
I know, I love that stuff. Also, like, what a network note that is. They're like, you cannot say dick. It's like, can we say Dick Cheney?
That's exactly what it is.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. And raised by a single dad. Maybe we knew that already, but.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Gary is at least half Mexican.
Yeah, that too.
We found out. And raised Catholic, yes, by his dad.
Time to throw to Dave Miller?
Wait. Just real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
At the very end, Delilah is packing up John's apartment, a secret apartment, and Sophie's there for whatever reason. They're flipping through the photo book, and then of course, they're flipping through. It's like, who are these people? And then Sophie's like, that's Emma. And then the picture they show is like, oh, someone took a screen cap from The Sopranos and put it next to a publicity photo from Office Space. And that is this photo that we are to believe was actually taken.
Oh my God, someone photoshopped Drea Di Matteo into Ron Livingston's photograph.
It was pretty good. And
the lighting's
funny.
all different.
It was just... insane.
Pretty bunk. It's like it felt like a school project.
It really did. And if it was a school project, I mean, if you were in TV school or like Photoshop school, I'd be like, this is terrible. You should not do this.
You'd be like, this is fine for now, but it's February. It's the beginning of the semester.
The beginning of the semester, but you're going to really have to ramp this up.
Yeah.
And then we do see in scenes from next week, like, okay, fine, the guy in the house is not John's twin unless he's had massive plastic surgery, which is still an option, and that's it. And
our main, if you want to email us conspiracy theories at amillionlittlepodcast@gmail.com too, or email us anything else. Our friend Jim Nelson, who gave us a really good conspiracy theory last year, hit us back, said thanks for reading my theory on the air. And his name is Jim Nelson. He let us know he has no relation to Mitch Nelson. We did accuse him of that. He said, hey, maybe John saw something that Tony Soprano did, and that's why he went into protective custody. That's why the girl from The Sopranos is there. Anyway, thanks again. So that's very nice. Hit us with your conspiracy theories.
Bonus theory at the end. Thank you.
And we have one episode left during the season 1 run.
Crazy.
The season finale is next week, so that's wild. We do have a season 2 out of this. We don't know if we're going to do episodes in between. We'll probably do something. My brother Joe he emailed me and about it, and I think we might do maybe we'll do a recap with my brother Joe, a look back on the season. So we don't know how regular we'll be releasing after, while we're off. But we appreciate, I will say, without getting into specifics, I would say we have more listeners than I expected.
Hey!
Would you say that?
Yeah, well, we have some. So that's more than I thought.
It is.
I came into this with zero expectations, so we have more than zero.
Yeah, we truly do.
So thank you.
Surprising, but so thank you for listening. We've got one more week, and it'll be myself, Jamie, and Dave Miller Skyping him from Chicago, as we've done on most of these things.
Mm-hmm. Probably for the summer, we're just going to be like chatting via Skype with Danny, I assume.
Yeah, most of the time. Just checking in every week. Seeing what, not even show related.
No,
just seeing
just
what he's
catching
up to.
up, just seeing what he's doing. Asking him to tell me what's good about myself.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of things, I'm sure. At A Million Podcast on Twitter, at A Million Little Podcast on Instagram, and A Million Little Podcast at gmail.com. Yeah, and Jamie, anything else before we go?
Nope.
All right, thanks for listening.
A Million Little Bye.